Hey everyone, this is a quick response to a video by DecoJuicer entitled Michigan Republicans Show Their True Colors, in which DecoJuicer asks,
Prof. MTH, if you're watching this, would you mind chiming in?
DecoJuicer's video is about a piece of legislation that passed the Michigan State Senate last week under the name Matt's Safe School Law. If enacted, the legislation would mandate that every public school district in the state of Michigan enact a policy against bullying and procedures to enforce said policy. The bill passed the Michigan State Senate along party lines. 26 Republicans voted for it, 11 Democrats voted against it. DecoJuicer raises several objections to the legislation. The following is chief among them.
But perhaps the most vile part of this bill is the clause that actually gives permission to bully if the bully holds sincerely held religious beliefs or moral conviction of a school employee, school volunteer, pupil, pupil's parent, or guardian. This means that all a bully has to do is say, my religion says that these people are evil and that I should preach to them or try to convert them by any means necessary. And the school or the victim have no recourse against them.
Indeed, the legislation says the following. This section does not abridge the rights under the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of a school employee, school volunteer, pupil, or a pupil's parent or guardian. This section does not prohibit a statement of sincerely held religious belief or moral conviction of a school employee, school volunteer, pupil, or a pupil's parent or guardian. It's this religious exemption that seems to have garnered the most consistent and heated criticism. You heard DecoJuicer denounce it as perhaps the vilest part of the bill. And here is Michigan State Senator Gretchen Whitmer, the Democratic minority leader of the Michigan State Senate.
You may be able to pat yourself on the back today and say that you did something, but in actuality, you're explicitly outlining how to get away with bullying. Your exceptions have swallowed the rule. As passed today, bullying kids is okay if a student, parent, teacher, or school employee can come up with a moral or religious reason for doing it.
DecoJuicer specifically asked me to express an opinion about whether the religious exemption violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. DecoJuicer believes that it does violate the Establishment Clause for the following reason.
But by giving the religious an exception from the law, the state is effectively endorsing one set of religious beliefs over another.
I see no Establishment Clause problem here. This legislation has a number of problems, but running afoul of the Establishment Clause is not one of them. The state is not endorsing one set of religious beliefs over another set of religious beliefs. In fact, it's not endorsing any religious beliefs at all. As written, the religious exemption is neutral and would apply equally to, for example, a Michigan public school student who said, I believe God has no problem with people being homosexual, and those who say otherwise are wrong, and a Michigan public school student who said, I believe God says homosexuality is sinful, and people should avoid it. There's no state endorsement one way or the other. Now, as you also heard, DecoJuicer regards the religious exemption as a license to bully in the guise of expressing a sincerely held religious belief or moral conviction. And he's not alone in saying this. You heard Senator Whitmer express the same opinion, and based on the quick bit of Googling I did before making this video, it seems that the overwhelming majority of those who've expressed an opinion about this bill have denounced the religious exemption in similar terms. Mine is going to be a minority voice in this debate then. I don't believe that the religious exemption in the Michigan bill is a license to bully. Rather, I think the exemption should be viewed as doing precisely what it says, and that is acknowledging that the First Amendment protects the articulation of sincerely held religious beliefs and moral convictions. Even ones, more correctly, especially ones that other people find troubling and offensive. The guarantees in the First Amendment are not there to protect popular speech from being silenced. I mean, they do protect popular speech, right? But popular speech doesn't really need protection. After all, it's popular. Rather, those guarantees are there to ensure that government does not silence unpopular speech, speech that offends, and what is considered unpopular speech can change very quickly. We as a society don't want to get to a place where the articulation of religious beliefs is outlawed. Even if we do want to go to that place, the First Amendment is there to stop us from doing so. Now, I don't say this because I believe religious people and their beliefs should be above the law. I don't. Quite the opposite. Rather, I say this from a place of commitment to tolerance for diversity of opinions as well as equality, and a place of enlightened self-interest. Government's outlawing of the articulation of religious beliefs would create conditions in which it could be acceptable for government to outlaw the criticism of religious beliefs. And I think we need to avoid placing our fundamental freedoms in such a precarious position. Now, the wording of this exemption could be tightened up. For example, as I suggested in the comments section under Deco Juicer's video, a tighter formulation of this exemption might be: this section does not prohibit a mere statement of a sincerely held religious belief or moral conviction. I think this would more clearly set off protected speech from bullying. And it would comport nicely with another section of the bill that says, quote, all pupils are protected and bullying is equally prohibited without regard to its subject matter or motivating animus. So if a student goes beyond merely articulating a religious belief or moral conviction to use said belief or conviction as a tool to bully another student, that would be prohibited behavior. But the mere articulation of a religious belief or moral conviction would not be prohibited behavior. That's protected speech. So, those are my 2 cents briefly articulated. Thanks, Deco Juicer, for asking me about this. It's an important issue, and I appreciate your giving me the opportunity to address it. And thanks, everyone, for listening.